AITA for refusing to give my dad my frequent flyer miles for his honeymoon? AITA for refusing to give my dad my frequent flyer miles for his honeymoon? This is probably going to sound petty, but I really need outside opinions because it's turned into a whole family thing, and I'm being painted as this selfish person when I feel like I'm just setting boundaries. So I, 26F, travel a lot for work. Like, I fly at least once or twice a month, and I've racked up a lot of frequent flyer miles over the past few years. I've been saving them specifically to go to Japan next year, a trip I've been planning for a long time, and something that's really personal to me because it's tied to my mom, who passed away when I was 19. She always wanted to go, and we used to talk about it constantly. So I decided a while ago I'd go for my 27th birthday and sort of honor her while also finally taking a trip for myself instead of just for work. Anyway, a few weeks ago, my dad, 51M, got married to his girlfriend of 3 years. I've had a polite but distant relationship with her. We're not close, but she's always been civil and tried to include me in things, though I still have some complicated feelings because it felt like my dad moved on from my mom faster than I expected. But that's not really the issue. The issue is that they're now planning a honeymoon and apparently didn't budget for how expensive flights would be. Out of nowhere last week, my dad calls and says, "Hey, we were wondering if we could use some of your miles for the trip. You don't need to cover the whole thing, just a few flights to help out." I was kind of caught off guard, but I said no right away. I told him I've been saving them for years for a very specific reason, and that I'd really rather not touch them. He sounded surprised and said, "Oh, I thought you had a ton saved up. You're not even using them right away." I told him again that they're for Japan and that I didn't want to delay or risk not being able to go because of a shortfall. He got quiet and said, "Okay, if that's how you feel." I thought that was the end of it. Apparently not. Over the past few days, I've been getting texts from my aunt, his sister, my stepbrother, her son, and even a couple of family friends who are saying things like, "It's just a few flights," or "You don't need to be so attached to points. They're not money." One even said, "It's their honeymoon. Don't you want to support their marriage?" I feel like I'm losing my mind here. These are my miles. I earned them. I didn't get them from a credit card promo or some freebie giveaway. They're the result of hundreds of hours in airports and red-eye flights and missed holidays. And yes, I'm attached to them because this trip to Japan is tied to my mom. And no, I didn't say all that to everyone because it feels weird having to explain that level of grief just to justify why I won't give something up. Now I'm being told I'm making a big deal out of points and that it wouldn't hurt me to be generous just this once. I feel like I'm being guilt-tripped for not wanting to sacrifice something meaningful to me so they can take a fancier trip. Yadia. Update 1, 2 days later. So things kind of escalated. My dad called me again yesterday and was clearly annoyed, though trying to sound casual. He said he didn't want this to turn into a family feud and that he thought I was being needlessly rigid over something symbolic. I told him again that the miles are tied to something important to me and that it's not about being selfish. It's about not always being the one who gives in to keep the peace. That's when he said, "You know, your mom would want me to be happy too." That kind of broke me a little. I told him flat out that bringing up my mom like that to make me feel guilty was low, and that if anything, she'd be proud of me for finally setting a boundary. He didn't say much after that. Just, "Fine, I'll figure something else out." But now I'm getting even more pushback from extended family who only know his version of the story, which I'm sure is, "My daughter won't share her frequent flyer miles so I can have a honeymoon." I've decided I'm not backing down, but yeah, it sucks feeling like the villain when you're just protecting your own space. Update 2, 1 week later. Some small resolution here. My dad and his wife ended up postponing their honeymoon by a month and apparently found a decent deal that didn't require my miles. He hasn't reached out since, but my aunt did call to apologize for jumping in without knowing the full story. She said she didn't realize I had that trip planned and understood now why it mattered. I appreciated that. I also ended up talking with my therapist about all of this. I hadn't mentioned that part before. And she basically said that setting boundaries is one of the hardest things to do in families that rely on emotional currency instead of clear communication, and that guilt isn't a sign you're doing something wrong, it's just a sign you're doing something different. That helped. I'm still sad that it went down like this, but I don't regret sticking to my guns. I'll take a strained relationship over a quiet resentment any day. And yes, I'm still going to Japan. I already booked the flight.